Let's
Okay.
just call it what it is. I don't. You know, I like Shakur. I like a lot of these young guys. Right now, it's there's I don't see anybody that can beat Tank. Like clearly, it needs to be a strong puncher, somebody that can get his attention and get his respect. And the ones that's calling him out, we know Shakur's pillow hands. You know what I mean? We know Devin is pillow hands. We know Loma. It's not. Loma got a little bit of pop, but it's not going to be enough pop to keep Tank at bay. I just don't. I just don't see anybody that can beat him, man.
Now you are home. Think of you there.
Yes, Ring Kings podcast is back. I know you guys missed us. I know these episodes they kind of spaced out in between one another. All right, but we're here now. Okay, let's enjoy these moments. Okay, let's enjoy these moments when we're all here, we're all together, we're all happy to talk some boxing. All right. First of all, happy belated Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers out there. Okay. I hope you enjoyed your day. Me, Mikey, and B, even though he's not a father, he's the uncle of the century. All right. Okay. He deserves some recognition as well. We all enjoyed our time off. Okay. Um, Shout out to me and B's nephew Sadiq for hosting a Father's Day party. That was pretty dope. All right. Appreciate you, Sadiq. All right. Shout out to one of our assistant producers, little Mikey. All right. For showing his dad some love on Father's Day. Took the old man out. Had a good time. All right.
And he just graduated, right?
That's right.
He did. He did. He's a big kindergartner now.
Yeah. All right. He's not little Mikey anymore. He's big Mikey. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, it was a fun weekend. Obviously, very entertaining Saturday night as our guy Gervonta Tank Davis gets his 30th win? Gets his 30th win by way of knockout over our guy Frank the Ghost Martin. We all like Frank, right? We think he's a quality fighter. I hate that he had to get put down that way. All right. But it was he put up a good fight. He just fought a better fighter. But I think Frank he's going to have a very good career ahead of him. Okay. He's going to have a very good career ahead of him. So we'll talk about that. Also, David Benavidez, his first fight at light heavyweight. I thought he looked pretty impressive. I thought he looked good. All right. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Gary Antoine with his mishaps.
I don't think we need to talk about that.
Subriel Matias and his mishaps. Okay. All right. There's a lot of boxing. And we haven't talked to you guys since who was the last fight that we covered? We missed the Usyk fight. We missed a couple of things. Okay, so we'll give you our thoughts on all that. We owe you guys a pound for pound. We're like 6 months too late, but hey, look.
Or we're right on time for the next.
We're right on time. We're right on time. So we're gonna we'll talk about that a little bit, but we're gonna do a pound for pound official pound for pound list coming up here pretty soon. What are you messing with there, B?
I'm trying to light this thing. It's not lighting.
All right, as B lights his candle.
It's not happening for me.
All right. So do we want to work backwards or work from the back to the Tank fight? You want to start with the Gay Antoine shenanigans?
I know you didn't just call my man Gay Antoine.
You said Gary.
You said Gay Antoine.
I said Gary Antoine.
Did not say Gary.
All right, my bad, Gary. If I said that, I talk a little fast sometimes. I didn't say that. I said Gary.
Mike, what'd you hear? What'd you hear,
Definitely
Mike?
sounded like.
Yeah, it's fine. Can't call it. You can't. Nah.
I'm sorry. Do y'all want to talk about Gary Antoine?
No, I don't. It's disappointing. Very disappointing. And I don't want to talk about that.
That was Gary's first loss, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Look, Puello was undefeated too, and people were
Yeah,
saying before the
that's
fight
true.
that Puello's not, he's not a walkover by any means, and he showed it. So
Yeah, Gary. I mean, think he might have dropped his bag. He was calling out some pretty big names. He looked to be headed towards a big fight. He's building a name for himself. But I don't know, man. Like, it happens. But he seemed. I don't know if dude like. I can't say that dude was that much better than him, but maybe the game plans was better. He just seemed to be counterpunching Gary like, and he was a step too slow getting out of the way, and it was killing him.
yeah,
And it went down as a split decision, but that one judge was clearly bought. I mean, he was like the cards are, he lost by one point on one card, 2 or 3 points on the other card, and then he won by 9 on the third card.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep, that's right. That
So,
was
yeah.
I don't know what they were looking at. Right, like
Yeah, looking at that check.
yeah, you know, Gary Antoine. he
Gary?
he looked like he doesn't have a second gear.
Yeah.
Like he was a little flat footed. He's got knockout power. He's put down a lot of fighters, and I think he was expecting go in there and just flatten the dude. And when that didn't happen, and he was getting hit back, there was no plan B. All right, and Gary Jr. was trying to tell him, man, like, look, you got to throw your jab. Like, you have to throw your jab. And he started to throw it a little later, and I think that did help once he actually started to throw. But
Imagine that.
yeah. But I mean, he was getting countered like crazy. Puello established his jab. He had a longer reach. And anytime Gary Antoine tried to, get something going, Puello stopped that. So, hey, congrats to him, man. So he's undefeated, and he's an interim. It was interim.
Interim, I believe it was WBC super lightweight champ.
All right. So
For whatever that means.
I had no idea. Like, where does he go from there? Like,
yeah, he's the interim super lightweight champ.
That's 140, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys at 140. There's a lot of guys.
There are.
Yeah.
Frank Martin. We'll talk about Frank Martin later on, but he hinted towards possibly moving up there too. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We'll talk about that. The next fight, David Benavidez. All right, moves up to light heavyweight. His debut match against Alexander. I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah, Alexander.
Okay, a game fighter. Okay, tough fighter, but Benavidez had no problems coming away with the decision. Now, some people will criticize saying, "Oh, he didn't knock the guy out or whatever." But man, you can't knock everybody out, especially when it's your first fight moving up. I mean, once you get up to that weight class, if you're not naturally big, man, you don't naturally have that power. You ain't gonna just go in there and knock people out. And not, you don't always have to do that, right? He showcased his skills. I mean, he hit Alexander with every shot he wanted. And he got a little bit tired down the stretch, but I think he maintained a pretty good pace for his main punches as he threw. He was very active. I thought it was a very impressive performance.
Yeah, I agree.
You looking at
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say you looking at the fact that this is the first time he was the smaller fighter, so
Yeah,
that was a little weird to see. We used to seeing him be, much bigger guy in there, but yeah. I mean, dude was a former champion. I mean, look, he hasn't fought in a while. He had some off the or out of the ring issues, but former champion, game fighter. It was a good. It was a good. It was a good bump, as they say, for Benavidez. Obviously, people wanted to see him knock him out, but we'll see. I think going forward, man, he could be definitely an issue in that or a problem in that division.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought Benavidez was very, very impressive. He was the smaller guy, first time moving up to 175. Alexander's a former champ. He did retire after he got knocked out by Beterbiev, but he came back last year and had a few fights, and he looked good still, right? And even though Benavidez it was his first time there and he was a smaller guy, I mean he still went in there and just walked him down and was landing clean, accurate punches all night long. And yeah, I mean, he just wasn't able to put them away. But sometimes, you get to that level and you can't do it. And it's not about you; it's more about the other person,
yeah,
right? But it was a very, very impressive debut at 175.
yeah. So he's in position now to, um, either go down to 168. Is that super middleweight?
Yeah,
Go down to 168. Try to set up a fight with Canelo, or stay at 175 and get the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. So he's in a good spot right now, and both fights I think will be big fights. You know, so he's right where he needs to be. All right.
yeah, he's done about at this point everything he can do to position himself for a Canelo fight. Um, I don't know how big a fight, how big a draw Benavidez is himself, but I mean, he's clearly the best available outside of Bud Crawford for Canelo. I don't think that I don't really think he wants Bivol or better BF, but we'll see. I think he should be focused on trying to move back down and making a Canelo fight happen.
Yeah, but I think he's clearly somebody that wants to test himself against the best, right? Not sure if he doesn't get Canelo, who is left at 168 that can really test him. So I think he wants that challenge, and I like his chances against either one of those fighters at 175. I mean, obviously when you move up
Yeah,
heavier, that's a problem. It could be a problem. But I don't know. I like his chances.
yeah. I mean, he said he's going to campaign in both divisions for a little bit. Um, Honestly, I mean, I don't see Canelo fighting him anytime soon. Unfortunately, and I don't know if like B said, jumping in with Bivol or better Bev right away. That I don't know if he's ready for that. Um, but yeah, I mean, listen, I liked everything he said. Like he's like, man, I can't wait on this guy. So that's why I'm moving up. I want to try to take over that division. He kind of want to try to. He say he want to run both divisions, try to take over both. But he's like, I'm not waiting on Canelo, so I respect it. But I hope they just be smart with it. Maybe not throw him in there. Maybe another fight at 175 before you get in the ring with one of those guys.
All right. Okay. And then the main event, Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. Man. I think, all of us had Tank winning. Okay.
Mm.
Most people had Tank winning. The odds were in Tank's favor. And I think most people expected a knockout. And of course you would, because all but two of Tank's fights have ended in knockouts.
And one of them was when he broke his hand.
Yeah.
One that didn't.
Yeah. So if you bet money on Tank to knock out Frank Martin, then you won some money. Okay. And if you listen to Tank and what round, you definitely won some money. He predicted the right round and everything. So Look, Frank Martin started out really well, right? Started out with a good game plan. Um, some people are like, yeah, he's running or whatever. Yeah, but he was still in the rounds. The first 3 rounds, I think, on all the judges' scorecards went to Frank Martin, and he had a good, a good strategy. Okay, hit and don't get hit. Okay, but after that, Tank was like, all right, this dude got nothing for me. I'm gonna start walking him down, cutting off the the ring a little bit and forcing him to mix it up with me. And I think Frank did okay. He did okay, but he wasn't winning those rounds after that. But this is where it's tough to tell your fighter to do this, right? But sometimes you got to stand in there and stand in that box and fight him, right? You got to show that you're not gonna be able just to walk me down. If you want to stand in this box with me, I'll exchange with you and I'll deliver some shots to you as well. But it ain't gonna be you just walk me down and not respect my punches, right? Or you got to really hit him some serious counters to really make him think twice about it. And he just didn't do it, and it caught up to him. And Derek James tried to tell him, look, don't sit on the ropes, right? Don't sit on the ropes, and he kept doing it, and he did it to his detriment. He got hit with the uppercut. That the uppercut is really what put him out. You know, he's kind of out on his feet, and then he got hit with that straight left that really put him down. So
Yeah, I think that he was in a no-win situation. There wasn't a strategy that was going to end with him winning that fight. He was overmatched. Uh, like to your point about, yeah, you got to stand in here and kind of exchange with them. And normally I would say yes, you got to do that and show the other guy you're not afraid of him. You can hurt him too, and not just stay in there, but you do it occasionally, right?
yeah,
To try and back him off. But if he had done that, he would have got knocked out sooner. He sat on the ropes a lot later because Tank started going to the body and he was tired. He couldn't keep up the movement,
yeah,
and that's the reason I think that, he was winning some early rounds, because Tank knew how the end of that fight was going to go. He wasn't worried about winning rounds early on. He was, putting in the work for later when he assumed he was going to knock him out. And that's how it went.
Yeah, it's you know what, man. Fighting Tank. I mean, watching Tank fight is like it's becoming like artistry. It's like obviously he knocks dudes out, and um, I saw somebody ask him a question. Matter of fact, about like do you take that as a slight? That people don't really recognize how smart your ring IQ. Everybody just kind of talks about you being a puncher. Um, and he said, "Nah, man, it doesn't bother me. That's what he expected. That's what it always been." Um, but look, man, that dude, the way he puts together a fight, the way he, as they say, um, Loma does, the way he downloads the first couple rounds and picks apart a guy, man, is it's amazing to see. I honestly felt like he was a step slow early in the fight. To your point, Jose, I think that Frank did have a solid game plan. He was quick. He was getting out of the way. He was kind of countering Tank too. He was catching Tank with a counter. Um, but if you don't do anything to back Tank up, he's just gonna stalk you. And the way that he stalked him, um, the entire fight, he just kept coming forward. That has to be like that just has to be draining, and like I couldn't imagine going through that. You fighting your ass off, and this guy is still coming forward, like and and he's not going anywhere, and he's just coming at you, and you hitting him with everything you got. Like that just has to do something to you mentally. Um, and finally, man, Tank caught up to him. But I do think he was a little rusty, being out of the ring so long. But it ended the way he said, man, and ended the way that we expected. Uh, Shout out to Frank. I like Frank. I've been a fan of Frank Martin, but I just think this wasn't the time. Now, look, you don't always get a shot at getting them paydays, so so I ain't mad at that. But I just think it was a little too soon for Frank.
Yeah, the announcers mentioned it too at one point during the fight, when they were kind of talking about Tank and how intimidating he was, and he said, he's being intimidating just with his presence, right? Uh, and that goes to your point, Mike, where he's always coming forward. I mean, in this fight, he was. You could see his face was marked up. He started swelling. He had some bruising and everything, and it just didn't matter. Like Frank hit him with very hard shots. He knocked
Yeah.
him back a couple times.
Yes.
But you're not going to hurt Tank to the point where he's not going to keep coming forward. I don't think we've ever seen him get really rocked like that. He took those shots, he stepped back for a minute, and then it's right back in your face. And you can't get rid of me, essentially.
Some people don't have a problem with getting hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like boxers are used to taking punches, right? But some boxers, they obviously can take more punishment, and you can hit them with a good clean shot. And they'll acknowledge like, no, he hit me hard, but they don't care, right? Like they know like you gonna have to hit me a lot more times for me to actually back down, right? Like, okay, you got me with a good shot, do it again. So not everybody has a type of mentality, man. And to be honest, I told B, like Frank Martin, like I hope Errol Spence does a good job managing him and keeping his confidence up, and I think they will. But I think for Frank, the sky's the limit for him still. Like I there's nobody that he comes across moving forward that's going to do to him what Tank did to him, right? So he can have that confidence moving forward, saying that's the toughest opponent I'm ever going to face, and that's an elite fighter. Okay, he was supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson before this fight happened. He backed out of that fight, assuming because he was about to he got that offer to fight Tank instead. It's a bigger payday. If he decides now, okay, let me go fight Shakur next, that's a lot more confidence. Not saying he beat Shakur, but he's a lot closer to Shakur than I think people realize. Like Frank Martin's an underrated fighter. Lomachenko, we'll see. I mean, Lomachenko, that's what's rumored to be happening next for Tank Davis. After that fight, I'm not sure what's next for Lomachenko. He's at retirement age. He can retire at any point. So, and Frank Martin said after the fight that he's going to talk to his team about whether to stay at 135 or move up to 140. So, if he goes to 140, this is another good fighter in that division, and he can absolutely take some of those belts. So, a lot of exciting things going on in the light and super lightweight divisions. Your boy Haney, Devin Haney, because he loves putting himself in the middle of these things, right? Him teamed up with Floyd Mayweather, I guess. I guess they're friends again. Floyd Mayweather decided to drop the release the whole diss track, release the whole sparring footage of Tank and Devin Haney. And I don't know if you guys saw it. I watched it. I didn't see anything that really made Devin Haney look good in there. Okay. You see what was put out there before. Tank, really like just snapping his head back, AB jumping in to stop it. And then they continue fighting after that. Tank clearly tired, runs out of gas. So he kind of just high guards it and lets Haney throw some punches, but not a single punch affected him. A couple of times, you see Tank, kind of just go off to the side, get a breather, talk to whoever, and Haney tries to sucker punch him, and it didn't affect him at all. One time he starts to talk to somebody in the crowd, whatever. Haney comes from behind him, hits him, from behind, and Tank just kind of looked at him like, "What are you doing? I'm talking." Right? It didn't really help his case, is basically what I'm saying. Okay, like, okay, you didn't go out on your back. Congratulations. But I don't think that's anything to really. I mean, and again, at the time I said it. I don't care if Tank knocked him out. It's sparring. It's a long time ago. They were young. That doesn't really mean anything. That's why those sparring tapes don't really get shown. They're not supposed to get shown. Mayweather and Tank are, they're beefing, and Mayweather looks like he's trying to sabotage Tank. That's not going to work, right? Haney is still trying to tie his name to Tank Davis, and that's the wrong move. You just lost to Ryan Garcia. Now, Ryan Garcia tested positive for a PED. Okay. He cheated, no doubt, but you still lost. And that's all people remember is you hitting the canvas like 3 or 4 times. The fight should have been stopped, right? Credit to you for getting back up and finishing, but man, you got whooped. So now you need to go out there and worry about you. Don't worry about Tank. Worry about how you can get that rematch with Ryan Garcia, or if you can't get that going, you need to be looking for Teofimo Lopez. You need to be looking for Isak Cruz. You need to be taking on some tougher opponents to show people, nah, I'm still one of the top guys. That only happened because he cheated.
Yeah, you need to be looking at anybody but Tank. Like it's not interesting anymore. It's not funny. It's just sad at this point because, like you said, it's like college football, right? USC cheated; they vacated all the wins, but we saw them drop 56 on Oklahoma. Nobody
Yeah, you
thinks
can't unsee
Oklahoma
it.
won that game. All right, we saw Ryan put you on your ass multiple times. We saw you stumbling around the ring, hugging the ref, trying to stay in it. And now you're gonna come out after one of the most impressive knockouts of Gervonta's career and talk about, oh well, he's never been a unified champion. Uh, he's never been the ring champ. He's never beat a top pound for pound guy. And you need to stop. Like honestly, it's embarrassing. And the other part of it is you keep on talking about the belts. And now you're the undisputed champion, right? And Tank ain't got no belts, but Tank has all the fans. Tank makes all the money. Maybe you should take a lesson that nobody cares who has the belts, right? It does not matter that you're undisputed at it's a great accomplishment, sure, but nobody cares like that you're the undisputed at lightweight. Nobody cares that you're trying to unify the belts at 140. Be a more interesting fighter. Stop letting your dad talk for you. Go out, fight Teofimo Lopez, get a rematch with Ryan Garcia. Get in the ring with Tank if you want to keep talking about Tank.
Yeah.
Do something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, man. It's getting old. Like he don't want it. Look, he don't want it with Tank. He don't, man. I find it interesting how they put all of that out there today. He hasn't fought this. He hasn't beat this. He hasn't beat the champion. Um, and you know, up into leading up until Tank fighting Brian Garcia was, oh man, like two young guns finally, they jumping in the ring with each other. Then quickly after that, it was Tank hasn't fought anybody. But then
Yeah.
the same guy that knocked you like that wasn't on that list that Bill Haney released today. That
Yeah.
Tank knocked out the dude that knocked out your son. So it's like it's just crazy how they quickly forget these things, man. And um, it's getting wild. Like, listen, if you're gonna fight. I don't think he wants that. He don't want that problem. And I think after what happened to him with Ryan, I'm sure he's gun shy with somebody with any type of power like that.
Mhm.
So, it's already talked to him, fighting Sandor Martin. Those are the guys. He wanted Pero to beat Matias
Matias.
because he ain't want that. You know what I mean? So it's
Nah,
like
nah.
it's the same way. I'm sure if they were recording him watching that Matias fight, it was the same way he reacted when Cambosis beat uh, Tio.
Teofimo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
he wanted that because he knew that okay, all right, yeah, I can get this fight, and that's
mhm.
I'm about to get these belts. So it is getting whack, man. And I like Devin. I wanna cheer for I wanna
Me
root for
too.
Devin. He's a good young kid, but like it's just it's getting to be whack.
Yeah. And look, any Team Haney fans that watch this, man, because that crowd base, man, that fan base, a lot like the Bud fan base, man. Like you say anything that they take as disrespect, they take it personal. All right. We like all these fighters. We like all these fighters. We're just calling it how we see it. All right. Um, you can't be talking that trash after a loss. I understand, you know, I understand that Ryan cheated. Okay. I get it. Your boy still took the loss. All right. You can't be out there talking about another. I mean, you shouldn't have been doing it before the loss anyway. It's whack. You don't have any real chances of fighting Tank. That's fine. You're a heavier fighter. All right. You're a heavier fighter. It's not realistic if you're being honest with yourself. Stop comparing yourself to that man. Okay. Now, oddly enough, he's setting up a fight with Lomachenko, somebody who Devin Haney beat. Controversial, but I think he won, right? But it was a fight that could have gone either way. Yeah, it's controversial. No,
Yeah, I was like, he had beat him. But that's all
no,
right.
he
It
beat him.
was a very, very good fight.
He beat him, and that's why it's controversial. BD doesn't think he won. I think he won. Um, I think he did a good job in that fight.
Yeah.
Lomachenko's a very good fighter. What happens if Tank goes out there and knocks him out?
Which is exactly what's going to happen.
Which is exactly what's going to happen. But what then, right? Because now people are going to be like, okay, two fighters, y'all fought the same. Haney won one and lost one. Tank knocked both of those guys out. Okay, like stop comparing yourself to that man. You're not him, right? And you don't have to be him. That's where this whole thing with Ryan Garcia got him messed up because he was trying to show people, see, Ryan Garcia ain't nobody, right? He's just a popular guy, but I'm going to use his popularity to boost me up, and I'm going to do him dirty the same way Tank did him dirty. And I even believed it, right? Ryan Garcia wasn't taking that fight seriously. He was out of shape in that fight.
Yeah.
He didn't.
That's the worst thing for Haney, though, because he wasn't taking it seriously. He was out of shape. And you're a far superior boxer, and you still couldn't box him.
I thought that was what it was going to be. I thought it was going to be one of those things where he just gives him a boxing lesson and puts him away late because he was out of shape. And I thought it was going to be with a body shot. And I was like, you know what? This is going to be good for Devin Haney, right? Anybody I work with, I was telling them, I was like, man, don't put your money on Ryan. I was like, Haney going to punish that boy. Nope. A stupid game plan. Thought he can handle taking some punches. Got hit with that left hook early, and it just wasn't a good night for him. So stop talking. All right. You're lucky you still have your belt. All right. I'm not sure what they're doing with that loss officially. I think they're trying to erase that off his record or call it a no contest, right?
Yeah, I thought they were trying to get it turned into a win, which I mean, you can't do that. But yeah, it should be off of his record and as a no contest or whatever, because Ryan did cheat. Mm-hmm. But like you said, that doesn't erase the memory of what we all saw. So hop back in the ring with Ryan, or go fight Teofimo Lopez, who is a big name, who has some power, who has a belt. Nobody wants to see you fight Sandor Martin.
And I think he can beat Teofimo Lopez.
I think he would beat Teofimo Lopez. Well, look, the bad Teofimo Lopez, he'd beat 12-0. The good Teofimo, I think he would still beat him, but it'd be closer.
Yeah.
But, we've seen more of the bad Teofimo than we've seen of the good. So 12-0.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man. We did a whole episode on this, right? Sell your fights. Stop trying to, talk about other people's fights. Sell your fight. We don't even know who his next opponent is going to be. It better not be Sandor Martin. It better not be Sandor Martin after all this trash you're talking. All right. The numbers haven't come out for this pay-per-view for Tank. I guarantee you they'll be better than Haney and Garcia's pay-per-view, whose numbers haven't even been released yet. All right. Then he's gonna go into a Lomachenko fight. Then there's talks that he wants to fight Shakur after that. Like, he's lining them up. Okay. He's lining them up. He's trying to go through all these guys that have mentioned his name. Keyshawn Davis, talked about him today. I guarantee you, he goes through all these fighters and wins. He gonna be like, Keyshawn, you're next. Let's go. He running through them. Okay. That's what they wanted. That's what people need to see from you now, Devin Haney. You got the accolades, right? You're an undisputed champion. Okay, you got a belt at 140. You're trying to be undisputed there. That's cool. You better start beating some of these guys.
Yeah, because he does have the accolades, but he got the accolades without beating any of the top fighters in and around his weight class.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. All right. So that's it for that. Real quick, because we didn't get a chance to discuss it. Our guy, Deontay Wilder.
My guy.
Our guy. Okay, well, that's your guy. My guy, Mikey likes Deontay. He's entertained us for years.
Yeah.
Okay,
My guy knows how to pull the trigger on the right hand.
hey, he's still my guy, man. Like, look, it is what it is. He's entertained us for a long time. You can say what you want about his boxing skills or whatnot.
One of the most entertaining fighters of his generation, for sure.
Absolutely. Sad to see him go out against Zheli Zhang. Okay. But you go into, I don't know what you're thinking, when you go into a fight, the dude's almost 70 pounds heavier than you. I don't know. Right? I don't know. He, turning his back to him, trying to talk to
somebody hit him in the face.
I just,
what do you expect?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But it is what it is, man. Like, he's done. Okay. He doesn't have anything else to prove. You held onto the belts for a long time. You had a great career, made a lot of money, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations on a great career. Don't come back.
Yeah, I hope he stays away. I mean, then shortly after that, he had some out of the ring situation with his wife.
Yeah.
So he got a lot going on right now. But yeah,
well, his fiance, they're not
time
married.
to walk away. Oh, his fiance. Okay, yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, he had a good career. I think I don't like to see social media how they try to diss on him, man, and discredit what he did for that division for a long time. But he don't got nothing to hang his head on. Like you say, he made a ton of money. He had a really, really good run. This time it's done. That's two L's in knockout fashion like that. This time. It's time to go.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, I've never been the biggest Deontay Wilder fan because I thought that he wasn't a very skilled fighter. But when you consider, especially how late he came to boxing and what he was able to accomplish, is remarkable. It was what was he, like 35, 36-0 before he took his first loss. Gave a great trilogy of fights with Tyson Fury. I mean, again, not the most technical fights, but very, very entertaining fights. He's got one of the most dangerous punches in the history of boxing. And like you said, he doesn't have anything to be ashamed about in his career. He had a phenomenal career, probably a Hall of Fame career for a guy who, it didn't seem like he ever even really wanted to be a boxer. It was kind of out of necessity that he fell into the sport. But yeah, look, I mean, he hasn't actually said that he's retiring, but I'll just go ahead and say, congrats on an incredible career.
Yeah. If he may not retire, but he boxing for fun at this point. He ain't boxing for belts. And Anthony Joshua said after that fight too, he's like, look, it's not for me to say whether he should retire or not. If he wants to fight, then fight. Like, you ain't got a certain amount of time in the sport. And if you feel like you still want to go, you still have it in your system, then keep going. I don't think that's the best advice. I think you should definitely quit while you're ahead. And he was never a fighter that really knew how to protect himself. But he was going to put you down before you put him down, type of thing. But you can't do that anymore. So get out. Okay.
And go fight Jake Paul. You make a ton of money fighting Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, he's too young for Jake Paul. Jake Paul can set him up with the MMA fighter though.
No, Jake Paul said, "Hey, you come see my son Jake Jr. after he's born."
he can set up a fight with with the MMA fighter because they always want to make money.
No.
Alexander Usyk, we didn't talk about that either. I'm still mad looking at that replay that they didn't stop the fight. He knocked out Tyson Fury. Okay.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury wobbling around the ring, using the ropes to hold himself up. The ref got in the way at one point. I was so mad.
Deontay Wilder too, by the way, knocked out Tyson Fury.
Oh yeah, that was a
And
clear
was,
knockout.
and was robbed of that win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usyk, man. First undisputed champion in what, like 25 years since Lance Lewis, I think they said.
Lennox.
It's crazy. So Vitaly Klitschko didn't have all the belts either.
No, and in typical boxing fashion, immediately threatened to strip him of one of the belts.
Yeah. So needless to say, man, pound for pound comes out, man. We got some things to talk about. We got to talk about Monster Inoue. You know, who we just said. It's funny because we just said like a couple months ago he's number 2. He's clear number 2. I don't know if he's clear number 2 now, right? You know, you got him obviously, Bud. You know, you got Bud, who's very inactive since his Errol Spence fight. Both of them have been very inactive, but but I mean he still got that win. You know, Bud, Inoue, Tank, Usyk.
Yeah.
It's
Tank moving up the list.
It is incredibly difficult at this point to crack the top 5 in the pound for pound.
Yeah,
with the way these guys have been performing.
Yeah.
But I'll say I have my top 4 set in stone pretty much at this point.
Yeah. Now, if Ryan didn't cheat, I'd be having a question about where we put Ryan Garcia. You know, beating my man who's on the list.
Solid 15.
Yeah.
And I don't want Team Inoue to get mad at us, but because you know they attack us when we talk about him. But you know, Inoue did get put down in that fight.
He did.
He recovered, you know, but
he looks so happy that he got knocked down.
I think that's more out of boredom than anything.
Right.
That wasn't a flash knockdown. That was a boredom knockdown. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I forgot I was fighting. Here, let me put you away.
Man of the life. He was like, "You still here?"
Shushu Carrington. They're talking about he wants to fight Inoue next. Shushu Carrington pose a threat?
Nah.
Oh, okay. All
right. Good fighter for sure.
Yeah.
Talented guy, but nah.
If my guy didn't pose a threat, Shushu ain't posing a threat. He dogged my man Fulton. And Fulton about to fight soon, I think. Finally.
He's fighting on the boot since then?
Yeah, he's fighting on Boost card, I think.
That was an unbelievable performance from Inoue. And this is, you know, you see this in not all the time, but you know, he's just on a different level from everyone else around him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now I wanted to dispel something too, because I saw somebody tweet this out. I wish I would have screenshotted it, but the guy's just trying to say, "Hey, look, a fight between Inoue and Tank is more realistic than you think." Right? He's like, you know, Inoue, you know, he walks around at 135. You know, Tank just waited in his last fight at 133. You know, they can make that fight happen. No, they can't.
Right.
Walking around and what you actually fight at.
And
right?
what you weigh in, yeah, like you comparing what that man walk around as and what he weighed in as, weighed in at. Like, come on, man.
It's not just about how much you weigh, right?
Yeah, because some guys fight at what they walk around at, and most don't.
But even still, it's not just.
It doesn't. You know?
Yeah, it's not just about what you weigh. He fights in a lighter class.
Mm-hmm.
The punches aren't the same. You want him to skip a whole weight class to move up to fight Tank, who hits a lot harder than anybody he's ever fought.
And you're talking about what he walks around at. Well, that's when he's not in fighting shape.
Right.
That's when he's carrying his Gucci bags.
Yeah. Right? you know, like, I mean, no, man. Like that's not realistic, and I think both fighters already said like, no, that ain't gonna happen.
And I said, you know, if you want to talk about a big time fight against a big name fighter, you know, him moving up, the fight to make would be Lomachenko, because Lomachenko need to get out of 135 anyway.
Yeah,
he need to move down.
Lomachenko, man, I think after this Tank fight, he's probably gonna call it a career.
He better. I hope. I hope he doesn't fight Tank.
I,
I
I
really
think
do.
I think that fight's gonna happen. They're talking about November.
I think it will too. I just hope it does. I don't dislike Lomachenko. I dislike the talk around Lomachenko and them trying to push him as an all-time great when he had 12 fights. But I mean, he's a very skilled guy. He seems like a likable guy and everything. I don't want to
Yeah.
see him get knocked out like that.
No, man, that's the game.
So what's
The
going to
game.
happen? What's going to happen in the first 4 rounds? Because they're both going to be downloaded. They're both downloaders.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to knock him out in the first 4 rounds because Loma doesn't do anything in the first 4 rounds, and Tank will get bored and put him out.
I think it looks similar to the Frank Martin fight. Like, yeah, Tank was kind of letting Frank do what he did, but like he was walking forward, like he was trying to press the issue. Frank was being elusive. I think it'll look similar to that. Lomachenko's a smart fighter, but he's gonna have to do some things early to try to get Tank's respect, and he will.
Mm.
He'll hit him with some decent shots here and there, but like he don't have that. He don't have Frank Martin type of power, right? Like he's got enough. Like he hits hard enough, but he doesn't. He ain't got that power that's gonna make Tank be like, all right, man, I gotta be careful. I gotta watch out for this punch or whatever, right? It's cumulative, but
Yeah.
Tank is gonna be like, yeah, you ain't gonna make it that far, bro. Don't even worry about it.
We'll just say he has the kind of power that made Devin Haney feel comfortable.
Yeah,
That's a recipe for getting knocked out early against Tank.
Yeah.
yeah. All right,
Let's just call it what it is. I like Shakur. I like a lot of these young guys. Right now, it's there's I don't see anybody that can beat Tank. Like, clearly it needs to be a strong puncher, somebody that can get his attention and get his respect. And the ones that's calling him out, we know Shakur's pillow hands. You know what I mean? We know Devin is pillow hands. We know Loma. It's not. Loma got a little bit of pop, but it's not going to be enough pop to keep Tank at bay. I just don't. I just don't see anybody that can beat him, man.
And that's at
I think
135 or
he's just that
140.
good. Yeah, I think he's just that good. It's time for people to respect that. I mean, you call it homerism or whatever you want to, but it's there. The facts are the facts. Like, he's just that good of a fighter. He's just that complete of a fighter. Like, you don't find that type of fighter that checks all the boxes like that. And somebody that's willing to take a few punches to get what he want to get. If you can't hold him back with your punch, it's over, man. It's over. Frank fought the fight of his life. Like, he looked good. Like, he looked good. It is like it ended the way that it did. So,
look, once again, for the Haney fans that watch this, man, like, it's all respect for Haney. You got a lot of respect for Haney over here, all right? But be honest with yourself, man. Be honest. Haney got nothing for Tank, man. Like, what y'all think is going to happen is they get in the ring and Haney can come in 20 pounds heavier than Tank, and he can just keep Tank off of him because he's too big, and he'll he can outbox him for 12 rounds. There's nothing, again, I think I'm higher on Tank than B is, right? There's nothing.
You mean Haney?
Haney. I'm sorry. I'm higher on Haney than you are. There's nothing in Haney's arsenal that can keep Tank from closing in on him. You know what I mean? Like, people think he'll have the jab. They'll think, oh, well, he's bigger. He'll be able to keep. No, he's not strong enough though.
Well, and that's the other thing I want to point out about this Frank Martin fight, right? Because it goes to exactly what you're talking about and why even guys who are very skilled boxers will have an extremely difficult time with Gervonta. If you watch the fight, he got knocked out in the 8th round. So rounds 1 through 7, you could argue that Frank won 6 of those rounds, right? Like, he was boxing and moving. Yeah, Tank would corner him every now and then and land some shots. But, I mean, for the most part, Frank was controlling the fight. Gervonta was ahead on all 3 cards because judges like guys who come forward.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to outbox Gervonta Davis by jabbing and moving and countering while he's coming forward nonstop throwing power shots, you're not going to win on the cards that way.
Yeah. I think people look at Floyd Mayweather and they say well that's what Floyd did. He ran a lot. Floyd didn't run a lot. Floyd would stand right in front of you and you won't be able to hit him. Okay. And when he did move around the ring, he made sure that he was hitting you and you never hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it didn't matter how strong you were, didn't matter. Because a lot of fighters thought all I gotta do is just bully him. You heard that all the time. You hear that all the time. Oh, well, he got no power. All he does is run. I'm gonna cut off the ring. I'm gonna corner him, I'm gonna bully him. Never worked out that way.
Yeah, that's what Canelo was going to do, right? Because Canelo was bigger and stronger than Floyd and had some skill, some boxing skill, and he was going to trap him and he was going to start landing the shots, and it was going to be too much for Floyd, except he never could.
Right. Maidana, like all those guys that were like, yeah, like he's not tough. Like I I'm gonna bully him. That's what Pacquiao thought. Didn't work out for any of them, right? But you don't have that level of skill for any of these boxers. Very skilled boxers, but you don't have that elite level of defense. Counter punching. Like he put it all together. I think Haney tries to mirror a lot of his game from Floyd. That's not a bad thing, but he takes too many hits. When guys that really want to force the issue, even Lomachenko, it was a good fight. I stand by my opinion. I think he came out on top, but even that fight, he was getting touched up a little bit. Obviously in the Ryan Garcia fight, he finds somebody that's actually bigger than him for the first time, and he couldn't keep Ryan Garcia off of him. He gets into a fight with Tank. Like I said, first of all, Tank is not going to let you balloon up 20 plus pounds heavier than him. Right? That for that reason right there, the fight I don't think will happen.
Yeah.
But even if that fight did happen and somehow you work that out, I don't care if you put on 30 pounds, you're not going to be able to keep Tank off of you.
No, and look, the fight's not going to happen because Devin Haney has never wanted that fight, ever. He wants to use Gervonta's name to make himself more popular. He didn't want to get in the ring with Gervonta.
No. Like I said, we gotta be real about it. If you're a Haney fan, be real about that. That fight's not gonna happen. Your man don't want that fight. I ain't calling him scared or nothing like that. I'm just saying that fight realistically is gonna happen. He needs to start focusing on the rest of his career because there's a lot of fighters out there. There's a lot of fighters out there that he can go out there and beat and really make a name for himself. Sandro Martin ain't one of them. The dude Paro ain't one of them. All right. Start
but a
fighting.
belt.
Right. Dan the belts, man. Start going out there and making these fights happen. I think a rematch with Ryan Garcia would be great for him.
He's going to be the first fighter in history to retire with more belts than pay-per-view buys.
I didn't say that. He said that.
It's what it is. Right?
You know what his move is. As soon as Frank gonna move up to 140, he gonna campaign Frank.
He better not.
That's what he gonna do.
I think that's a mistake that a lot of people are gonna be trying to make. Right? Shakur gonna want to fight Frank next, and I get it for Shakur. Shakur had that fight lined up first, and he's hungry for a big fight, and I think that actually be a good fight. Haney, if he moves up, Haney, Teofimo, they'll all be looking to get that fight. That's a mistake. That's a mistake.
Yeah, it's definitely a mistake for Devin. I think a lot of big name guys are a mistake for Tio right now. Tio got a lot of work to do.
He do.
Shakur, I think that'd be a great fight. I'm not gonna say I think Frank would beat him for sure, but I think that's a very interesting fight. I think Frank would move up and beat Devin Haney. I think that's a little bit of fool's gold for Devin.
I think, and again, I'm a little bit higher on Frank. I think he can beat most of those guys at 140.
Yeah, I think so.
Like he doesn't have the name recognition right now. I mean,
Well, he's got it right now.
he's got it right now, but he didn't have the recognition going into the fight. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are, as time passes, people are starting to find out these guys that Tank was beating are very good fighters,
Mhm.
right? Isaac Cruz is a champion now. Okay, like I think people look at Isaac Cruz as clearly he's not the best fighter out there, but good fighter, solid fighter. You can't that's not a sleepwalk fight. You have to go in there and you have to have some skill to beat him because he's a lot like Tank. He'll walk you down. He can take a punch, and he's looking to take your head off. And you got to be able to take a hit here and there. You got to be able to elude that. And lucky for most fighters, you can because he's a little stiff out there, but not an easy opponent by any means. Okay,
Yeah.
Obviously Ryan Garcia. We made all kinds of jokes about Ryan Garcia, but we always said he does have skill.
Mm-hmm.
He has amazing skill, and yes, even though he got caught cheating, it's unfortunate because I think even without the PEDs, that it probably would have went down that way.
The left hook didn't come out of the bottle.
Right. But I think it made people realize that he got more skill than than we want to give him credit for. Even me, because I didn't give him a chance in that fight. I think we're going to be saying the same thing about Frank Martin, or they're going to be saying the same thing about Frank Martin. Like, oh, this guy's a lot better than we realized.
Mm-hmm.
He's fought some quality fighters. Even though they're not for belts, they're quality opponents. And you look at the resume at the end, and when their careers are done, yes, the belts look nice, but the names on that box rec are what we're really going to be paying attention to. Right? Not the belts, the names. So it's time for Haney to get going, man. It's time. But all right, that's all I had. You guys got anything else? Nope.
What's next?
What is next?
2 weeks. 2 weeks is Shakur, right?
Does he have a fight?
I don't think that he had one scheduled.
He
Who was
fights
he
July
fighting?
6th, I think.
Who's
Nobody.
he fighting?
Somebody that I think Frank knocked out.
July 6th, Artem Harutyunyan. I don't know how to say his name. August 3rd is Bud Crawford. Tiafimo is fighting on June 29th.
Who's he fighting?
Steve Claggett. Rubesi Ramirez is on that card as well. Nico Ali Walsh is on that card too. This is a good one here. June 29th as well. Juan Francisco Estrada and Jesse Rodriguez. Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So that's the 29th. Then Shakur Oshaki Foster's on that card as well. Keyshawn Davis on that card. Kelvin, Abdullah Mason. Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. And on the undercard, Daniel
is that boxing
Jacobs,
or is that
that's a boxing match. It's a light heavyweight 10-round fight. On the undercard, Daniel Jacobs versus Shane Mosley Jr.
Daniel Jacobs still fighting?
He is on that day.
Oh my goodness.
Boots Ennis versus Dave Avocado. July 13.
Yeah, I feel bad for Boots, man. It's been tough for Boots to get some fights. He's trying. It's not for lack of effort, man. He's trying. Nobody wants to fight him.
I would say go fight Ortiz or Stanios, but neither one of them can get in the ring.
Right. So. It's tough, man. It sucks, man. Like It's signed with Eddie Hearn. I'm not sure if it makes it any easier.
Oh, that Bud Crawford card looks pretty good. You got Andy Ruiz on that card as well.
Okay.
Pitbull, Cruz, David Morrell is fighting on that card. Jared Anderson's fighting on that card.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good card.
And then,
I mean, I don't know who they're fighting, but those are good fighters.
yeah, Martin Bacole for Jared Anderson. He needs to step up in competition, like right now.
Yeah.
Pitbull fighting Jose Valenzuela. Andrew Ruiz fighting Big Baby Miller.
Okay. That should be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be an entertaining card.
Yeah. Yep.
A shout out to our guy, Xander Zayas. We said a while ago that he would be headlining the Puerto Rican Day weekend fight card, and he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked impressive. So we've been talking about this kid for a long time. So
yeah,
shout out to Xander.
Shout out to Xander's eyes, man. That's our guy.
I don't see Edgar Berlanga on this list.
I just pray that he doesn't get that fight with Canelo. I understand it's for a payday, right? I want you to get paid, Berlanga, but I don't want to see your head get knocked off either. Okay, you're not ready. I don't know if he'll ever be ready, but I just know he's not ready right now.
Yeah, I don't think he will be. But you do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Fight Munguia. Not yet. Munguia looks a little bit.
He's not ready for Munguia.
but you set that one up. Next year. Set it up for next year. Okay. Take a couple other fights and look, Berlanga. We got to talk, man. You got some work to do. All right. You got some work to do. All right. But don't go for a Canelo fight yet. I get why. I get it. You're at that when you get to that point. You're not afraid of getting knocked out, right? You want to make some money. Okay. And that's a huge payday, right? And you want to get that fight before Canelo calls it a career. All right, I understand that. Man, I just wish there was a better way. All right, y'all. That is it. All right, we're gonna do a pound for pound list for you guys very soon. Okay, man. Look, our videos have been kind of spaced out. All right, I know we've been meaning to get back in the studio and record a couple of things, but it's been tough. But our subscriber count has gone up. It has gone up. I saw the other day we're at 415. So we are 85 away from monetizing this channel. So do us a favor if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. All right. If you're listening on the audio side, I think our listens have gone up too, right? Man, follow, give us a 5-star review, share with your friends and family and loved ones. Okay. We are still growing. All right. So we're going to continue to put out some quality content for you. And we actually have some things in store for you. So don't think we're sitting here and don't think we're neglecting the channel. We're not neglecting the channel. We have some ideas. We're trying to put some things in place, but trust me, I think it's going to be well worth it. All right. So we appreciate y'all. All right. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Any parting shots, fellas, before we get out of here? That's it. There. All right. They're ready to go. All right, y'all. Thank you very much for watching. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Think I get back.